Hey, I didn't get the chance to get to this yesterday morning because we were just so busy, but the unemployment rate has gone up from 4.3% to 4.5%, a jump economists and the RBA didn't predict. It's the highest unemployment rate since 2021. Now, that's off the back of COVID. Here to explain is the unconventional economist, Leith Van Onselen. Leith, thanks for joining us. I guess my question to you is, are we heading towards a recession?
Yeah, look, I personally think that, that there's a very high chance of a recession. Obviously, we've had 3 rate hikes in a row from the RBA, and the financial market's still tipping, one more at least by the end of the year. And so did the latest statement of monetary policy. They basically, from the RBA, which was released a couple of weeks back, they essentially forecast another rate hike. So I think with that monetary tightening and obviously with the rising energy costs globally, which are starting to filter through with sort of like second round impacts, because we're starting to see, the prices for construction materials and that sort of thing go up. I think there's a very good chance we will actually have a recession. My view has always been, Jason, that the RBA is going to hike partially this year, which they already have, obviously. Then we'll end up reversing track next year when the economy has a downturn. And it's kind of reminiscent of what we had during the global financial crisis. If anyone who's old enough might remember that after the US subprime crisis hit in late 2007 in the US, the RBA hiked rates by 1%, hiked 4 times. And then when the full GFC hit in September 2008, the RBA then slashed rate because it was worried about recession. So I think we'll probably experience something like that again, whereby they hike and then they go too hard and then they're forced to actually cut pretty heavily. So that's kind of my thinking on it. Now, obviously, I could be proven wrong because nobody knows what the future is and nobody knows how the war overseas is going to play out. But that's kind of my gut feeling, that we're going to have a sort of repeat of what happened during the financial crisis, whereby they lifted rates too high and then they have to reverse.
Yeah, I do remember that. The other thing I found concerning with these figures yesterday, and as a small business owner myself, I talk to other businesses, and I don't know anyone putting anyone on. I only know people who are having to cut people back, whether it's with, changes to, employment law or wages. A junior wage going is an absolute disaster by this government, and I'll get to that. But in seasonal terms, employment dropped by 18,600 people. Are businesses doing it tough and just have to let these people go?
Yeah, so it's also worth pointing out that this is just 1 month's data. So often these figures do jump around a bit. So we could get a bit of a rebound next month whereby, it adds jobs, etc. So just bear that in mind. But the trend's obviously not good, right? And certainly for, if you're a small business, you're facing cost inflation everywhere. And also, we've also got this artificial intelligence shock that's sort of rolling through globally, whereby, there is a potential for quite a lot of jobs to actually be made redundant because that people actually get replaced by artificial intelligence. Now, we don't know how that's exactly going to play out, but that is certainly a risk. And that technology is starting to be rolled out now, and already some surveys have come out in Australia whereby HR managers have basically said that they believe that their companies are going to hire less people or lay people off because of AI. So that's another barrier that is happening, and certainly activity indicators. So the Purchasing Managers Index, it's called the PMI from S&P Global. They do one every month in the Australian economy, and that basically shows that activity levels in Australia are falling. So that is often a precursor to job losses.
Yeah, right. It's interesting though, where AI is having on an impact on the private sector, but geez, no job cuts in the public service or area when AI could surely do some of these jobs.
Oh, absolutely. Look, there's a lot of fat to be trimmed in the public service, especially in the bureaucracies, both at state and federal. But obviously, those jobs tend to be a lot safer than those of us who work in the private sector. Now, another reason why the outlook for unemployment is actually pretty bad is that over the past several years, the biggest creator of jobs in the economy has actually been the government-funded sector. So it's called the non-market sector. So it's bureaucrats, but it's also jobs in the NDIS, that sort of thing. Basically government-funded jobs. Yeah. So since the start of 2023, basically, just around 2/3 of jobs created in Australia have been effectively government funded. And now that the government wants to cut back on the NDIS and they're trying to trim costs, that means that we're likely to get that sort of tailwind of job growth going forward. And plus, a lot of state and federal governments are now putting on hiring freezes for the public service or trying to sort of trim staff there. So as a result, we're not going to get that tailwind of employment growth that we've had over recent years. And really, the reason why Australia has had this historically low unemployment, and it's amongst the lowest in the advanced world, is because we've had this massive boom in government-funded jobs that hasn't occurred elsewhere. And that's primarily because of the NDIS.
Yeah, right. Okay. Finally, mates, the next RBA meeting, you expect rates to stay on hold, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. So the minutes came out from last meeting earlier this week, and it basically suggested that the RBA is going to sit on its hands. And obviously, after this labour market reading, I can't see them hiking rates next meeting. They'll want to take a wait and see approach. And if we get another bad job number next month, well, then I think they'll remain on hold. But we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out.
All right. The unconventional economist, Leith Van Onselen. I wish we could talk about happier things, mate. I appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, no worries, Jason.